Saturday and ready to go. We're going to go out and wander around the yard for a while this morning. Anything you guys want to see, comments, questions, be sure to throw them up there. It is the morning of the 4th of July, so good time to go out and wander around a little bit. Be happy to show you guys anything you want to see. However, if you want to get into details and pricing, you'll just need to call me after we get done with the live so we can get into the details of pricing and stuff. Well, I'll show you a fender, but I need to know if you need the bare fender, some of the trim, none of the trim, part of the trim. All those details I don't like getting into while we've got the other viewers on just hanging out looking at stuff. So happy to show you whatever you want. Just give me a call, 620-786-4428 after we're done if you want to get into specifics as far as pricing and shipping and details and things like that. So anyway, it's been a few months since we've done one of these. I've brought in a lot of new inventory since then. In fact, that's why we're running a little bit late this morning. I've got some internationals that are too big for me to haul, but I've got a guy that hauls some of that bigger stuff for me. And he's about ready to go get them. I had to go shoot some pictures and some content on those, as is where is before he goes out there to get them. So running a little bit behind on what we had planned this morning, but regardless, we are here, we are ready to go. It's a beautiful morning. It's the 4th of July. Let's remember why it's the 4th of July. I know we're all going to be having picnics and blowing stuff up today, but we got to remember why we're here and how we got here for the 4th of July. So please bear that in mind. Keep our veterans in mind and everybody that helped protect our freedom to where we can still enjoy the 4th of July. Tweedly D's here with us. So let's go wandering around. Let's check some stuff out. Like I said, give me a shout afterwards if you've got specific questions about pricing and shipping, 620-786-4428. And we'll go wander around a bit. Like I said, I've had a lot of new inventory come in since we did this the last time, and a lot of them I haven't even had time to do videos on yet. So there's going to be some of this stuff sitting around, and you'll be able to tell. We've had so much rain over the last month that I've got stuff just scattered out in the middle of the roads and things like that, wherever it was solid enough that I could get to something and get it slid off the trailer, so without sinking in the holes or tearing up roads by driving through mud holes. So anyway, that being said, let's go wander. Anything you guys want to see, be sure to just throw it up there in the comments, and we will sure try to walk by something if there's something specific you want to see. So we'll flip this thing around, we'll go start wandering, and I'll keep an eye on what you guys want to see this morning. So we're just going to head down one of the main roads as I watch for comments, checking out some stuff. Big jobs here. Tweedly D said they got storms in South Dakota. Hopefully everything's okay up there. So don't really have a plan. This is kind of a tour guided by you guys. So if there's something you want to see, let me know. Chris Ortiz is on with us. I see this stuff every day. So these tours are kind of guided by the viewers. So let me know what you think, what you want to see, and we'll go from there. Here's some of this stuff just sitting in the roads just because it was a solid place to hook onto and drag them off. We did do a video on the 62 Mercury, that 54 Chevy pickup you guys haven't seen yet. Here's an interesting one that just came in, 63 Dodge convertible. Just picked that up a couple weeks ago. Haven't done any content on it yet either. And you can see literally it's sitting almost in the middle of the road. It was just the only place that was solid where I could get to throw a strap on it, hook it to a truck, and drag it off. So we'll just keep wondering. You guys let me know what you think, what you want to see, what you're interested in. And that's where we'll head. Nate's on with us. We'll just kind of cut over through this area over here. One thing I've been working real hard on is all this grass. I've been trying to religiously spray anything I see coming up that is a broadleaf, kochia, sunflowers, anything like that, and we're making some progress. Some of the grass gets a little tall, but that grass is keeping all the rest of the stuff choked down. So this whole area here is coming along nicely as far as good grass starting to come up, keeping the big nasty weeds down, which is what I want. That's why we've been flying it. That's why I've been spraying stuff. 73 to 77, 73 to 79 Ford pickups. Yeah, we can catch some of those. I've got one right here, and they're kind of scattered right now, but there's one here and there's 3 or 4 more kind of on the other side of this section. So we will definitely catch some of those because there are several of them kind of here, not right beside each other, but in this general vicinity. That was a 68 El Camino. We can catch it on the way by as we come around this old Ford. Try not to bounce you guys around too bad. There is a full video on this car where you can go check out that El Camino and where we look inside of it and open the hood. But it's a pretty good old car. Very, very unmolested, highly original 68 El Camino. So let's head back this way to catch a few more Ford pickups, because there are a few more back this direction. There's the 39 Chrysler that Alex is coming after. Let's see. That's a good El Camino, Pete. You know that. No Willys Jeeps. Do not have, no, I don't. I've got 2 68 to 72 El Caminos, and they're both complete cars. Don't have any parts cars in there. Ford Muscle's here with us. There's a 73 to 79 Ford over here, and there's another one back over there. We'll head that direction. This one here, this old pickup is really pretty solid pickup. It looks worse than it actually is. It was originally silver, they painted it blue. But I mean, the bed isn't terrible. The other bed side needs a skin. But inside of this truck, pretty clean, solid old pickup. We'll work our way around this way because I know I got another one over here around the corner as well. Old International. No problem, PFF Flyer, glad you're here. Throw a share out there, let your friends know that we're on and live and going so they can jump on and hang out with us as well. We'll come around the corner here because there is another, there's some kind of odd I picked up. Old school minivan, the old 80s minivans. Found one of those. There you go, Brian. And here's another 78 or 79 Ford. This isn't a bad truck either. It's got a little bit of rust in it, but it is complete. It is factory two-tone, factory side moldings. Kind of a cool old truck. Old school grill guard, old school running boards, old school toolbox, accessorized just the way this truck would have been done back in the 80s. A little bit of rust in the bed and the lower front fenders on this one, but structurally it still looks pretty good as well. Johnny Z's here with us. There's the Snow Fighter. 74 Dodge Snow Fighter factory plow truck. I still think this thing is super cool. There's the old 37 Olds, Lincoln, 70 Chevy pickup, 61 Chevy pickup. The old Studebaker, we just did a video on this one recently. The old M-Series Studebaker. 77 Dodge. Little two-door Falcon. Had a ton of calls on the little Falcon over the last year or so, but nobody's actually showed up with any money, which kind of surprises me. That's not a bad old car. And of course the diesel Lincoln. This door won't stay shut for some reason. Something's messed up with the latch on it. But the Mark 7 Lincoln diesel. That 70 Chevy pickup was a long bed. Big Al's on with us. Glad Alan's on with us. There you go, Alan. You can race week that thing for whatever that's good for. Shop 209's on with us. Got to hang out with Shop 209 last week on Rocky Mountain Race Week. It was great to see him again. Glad we got to hang out with you a little bit. Hope you guys had a safe trip home. How many miles home was it for you? It was a long haul, I know that. Shop 209 had a long haul to get home after Rocky Mountain Race Week last week, but it was great to see you guys and hang out a little bit. '79 Monte Carlo, shot a video on that car yesterday. We'll have that one up here soon. Yeah, that's a 76 Le Mans Sport Coupe. Punched in the nose a little bit. I think they said it hit a deer. 1,300 miles after race week. So we did about 13 or 14, we did 12 or 1,300 on race week. Had 1,300 homes. I mean, he had 1,300 to get there too. So about 4,000 miles for Shop 209. That's a long run. But I am glad we got to see you again. '71 Chevelle radiator support. I've got a possibility on that. I've got a couple of '71, '72 Chevelles. I just have to see what I had left. Yeah, I've got a lot of 66, 67 Tempest Le Manses and GTOs. And in fact, since we've had a couple questions about A-bodies, we can kind of work our way around to the back up to the A-bodies if you guys want to see some of that A-body GM stuff. Lots of G-bodies in this section. Beds, cabs. There's an interesting one, an old Scout 80. Old school mid-60s era Scout. Glad you're having fun, Brian. More rows of cabs. Good portable hot tub. That would be something interesting to do with it. Crew cab Ford, mid-90s. How about a Metropolitan? And let's cruise on over this way and catch some of this A-body GM stuff. So I can sneak right through here. We'll cut over to these A-body GMs since we had some questions about some of that stuff. Metal dash frame for 66, 67 Le Mans. Depends on which one you need. I think I've got one car that is stripped down far enough that I would cut it up. Most of them I won't cut. I get a lot of calls for that dash frame. So it just depends on which one you need on that. Four-wheel drive Dodge Power Wagon 72, I think. Here's some of our A-body stuff, A-body GM. About ready to get the 67 out for Brian. Yep, just let me know and I will get it moved and get it ready to go. I've got a little time now, so keep me posted now that we're back from Rocky Mountain Race Week. That's right, a Metropolitan is much lighter than a Nova. That's a good point, Shop 209. Although I think your channel might get a rash if you didn't have a Nova on it, so. Here's an interesting car that is just sitting here near the A-bodies. It hasn't gotten moved. 1977 Oldsmobile Delta 88 Coupe Indy Pace car. Yes, this was actually an Indy Pace car replica, believe it or not. These were two-tone, silver and black, red interior. If we open the door on this thing, we can see the black on this thing where it was two-toned, since it was a pace car replica. Definitely a little rough, been sitting for a long time. The blacked out trim around the windows. The red Oldsmobile Rally wheels. But yep, that was actually a 1977 Oldsmobile Delta 88 Indy Pace car replica. We'll wander over here to a few more A-body GMs. Don't have, in fact, I don't think there's any El Caminos in the A-body section. I've got the 68 and I've got the 71, and they're both complete cars. Yeah, actually, a lot of that grass, once it gets going, it'll get tall for the first year, then it'll kind of lay down on itself and kind of keep itself down, but still have a good root base. So I'm just working with that grass, trying to keep it managed and keep the front area that already is rocked maintained, as you know, hauling some more rock in every year and kind of keeping the roads serviced. So there are a few Novas mixed in here with this A-body section as well, but '75 442, a couple little Tempest wagons. And like I said, this tour is kind of guided by you guys, so let me know what you see in the comments or what you want to see in the comments, and that's where we'll head next. There's one Chevelle. That's kind of an oddball four-door hardtop. The rock just varies on price. It depends on if I get crushed concrete, depending on if I get white rock, depending on, you know, what size of white rock, because they go on weight. So it varies anywhere from, I haven't had anything hauled in about a year, but I mean, it's $600, $700, $800 a load typically, so it adds up pretty quick. Few more Chevelles. This one got hit hard, real hard. And there's another shell over there. Some more 66, 67 Pontiacs. That car there is actually a 71 GS 350. So there's some of the A-body section. I've got most of those in one group. I do have a few of them still scattered around. You know, a few A-bodies over here in this group. This group's kind of a menagerie just because it was a place to dump cars for a while until I filled it up. But this section here will be A-bodies, so I do have a few A-bodies mixed in here already, but I got to get some of these trucks and things out of here and get them put away so that I can get this filled up with A-body stuff. Yes, both El Caminos are complete. We can head up front. The red one I have not had running. The 71 that is in primer I have had running. I've never driven it, but I threw a battery in it, primed it, and it does hit. So we can wander up front and check out that other El Camino if you're interested in seeing it. Since it is complete, I do have it right up front. And we probably need to wander up there anyway and check some of that stuff out. There's a little Nova wagon, fastback Pontiac, GMC Sprint. '66 Mustang Coupe. There's my fence posts for whenever I get my fence fixed, a part of them. Yep, I got a lot of time and money invested in here. There's no doubt about it. Oh, big job, look what's coming around the corner. That thing has your name all over it. That says big job all over it right there. And guess what I got a couple weeks ago? We got the title for it finally too. So it's ready to go. Take me home, big job. That's what it says. You're still thinking about it, yep. There's another one of those 73 to 79 Fords. This one I think is a 77 Super Cab. And here's the other El Camino. Like I said, this car I did throw a battery in it, hit with prime gas, it did fire. All the body work is done with the exception of the left rear quarter. It had some rust in the fenders, they fixed that, they put a left quarter skin on it. Kenny's here. I actually screwed up your shipment, Kenny. I got a couple things shipped yesterday. I didn't get everything shipped due to a holiday, but I shipped half your stuff and forgot your raffle winnings, Kenny, so I will get those on the way to you. Just don't freak out when you open the box and the raffle piece isn't in there, because I screwed up. I got in a hurry trying to get stuff shipped since yesterday was so short on time, and they obviously aren't open today. So this car, like I said, other than it needs this quarter skin, they did the other quarter skin. I bought this out of the body shop. The guy ran out of money, and I ended up buying the car in this condition after they had done the majority of the body work on it. But, you know, we can see the rockers and everything all looks pretty good. It was pretty much all skin stuff, and they had fixed all that with metal. No problem, kid. I just wanted to let you know so you didn't open the box and say, where the heck's the rest of my stuff at? Does have the bump hood on it. Just has a small block Chevy and an automatic in it. But not a terrible car. And like I said, a lot of the big, heavy work has already been done. I need to redo my front row here. This is all going to change here very soon. Get some new stuff out here. Nope, it's still here. I've had a lot of calls on it, but nobody's stepped up on it. It's a good, clean truck. And one thing about this truck that a lot of people don't realize, except for the guys looking for them, it's got 22.5 wheels on it. So you can get tires for these wheels real easy. So I've had a ton of calls on the truck. I've had a ton of calls on the wheels, and nobody stepped up yet and snatched it up. So that's another one of those trucks. When I get regrouping up here and start moving this stuff around, it's going to go to the back and be parted out. So. Yep, everything's the same as a pickup basically except the front fenders. Old Ram Charger, ADL Camino. And we'll walk by the big job one more time for big job. Check out this custom bed. I don't know what it would cost to build this bed, but all custom aluminum bed. This is a cool truck. It's got these storage compartments even that built into this bed. Oh, they did an amazing job on this thing. Mike, just ran across your channel enjoying the tours from San Antonio. I'm glad you're here with us. And when they built this bed and put these storage boxes on it, they even riveted a lip over it to keep rain from running inside the boxes. Big gas Ford engine for power and an automatic in that big job. So let's go wander. Let's keep heading around. Like I said, these tours are viewer guided. So if you want to see something, throw it in the comments and we will sure try to work that way. Surprised this truck hasn't gotten a ton of, I've gotten some calls on it, but nobody's really gotten all over this truck yet. This is a super, super solid 41 Chevy, been in storage for the last 25 years. So it's still here. I've had a lot of calls on it, but nobody's jumped all over it yet. As far as pricing, Mike, just call me afterwards because we've got a lot of people on here and getting into the specifics of prices as far as looking at specific parts, dealing with shipping, things like that. I don't want to get into that just because we've got, all these other people on, and I don't want to keep them sitting there waiting while we have our own personal conversation about it. So happy to show you whatever you want to see. When we get done, just give me a shout, 620-786-4428. I will add that number to the description of the video after we get done, and then we can sure get into the details on some of this stuff. I just don't like doing it to make all these other people sit around and wait while we talk about specific things. So let's loop up this way, and then we'll probably head over to the north side. Yes, I do have 59 to 64 Impala. I don't have any 59s. The only I've got 59 are Bel Airs. We can head back to I've got a whole section I'm working on for 59 to 70 full-size GM. We will catch that, and then we'll head over to the north side, which was what I call the new yard. How about some Cadillacs? These Cadillacs, I'm going to get rid of a bunch of these Cadillacs. These coupes. 77 Malibu. That is a 76 Sprint. We'll catch it real quick. It's a 76 Sprint. I've got one that I can cut. Just depends on which one you need, Ken. 76 GMC Sprint. Buckets, console, swivel buckets, console, AM, FM. This was a pretty well loaded up car. Picked this car up for a parts car for Dad's. If you haven't seen the video on Dad's 73 Sprint SP factory 454, it's a super cool car. So this car has a lot of pieces of options Dad wants to add to his. We're in Great Bend, Kansas, Mike. That's where we're located at, right in the middle of Kansas. There's actually a couple of Impalas up here, and then we'll work our way back to where the rest of them are. I guess one of these is a Caprice technically. But here's a 62 Impala. This is a two-row hardtop. They disassembled this car for restoration and then quit on it. So no motor or tranny. Why did Big Job end up? It was just, I bought a whole bunch of cars from a guy and that thing was sitting there. They said, we need to sell that too. Obviously I didn't buy it for iron. And actually Dad bought it technically. It's Dad's truck. He paid for it. It was definitely a lot more money than a lot of the iron I was buying. But this old 62 is definitely savable. And like I said, no motor or tranny, but almost everything is here. You know, there's the side windows, the quarter windows, the vent windows. the trim, the tail panel, the bumpers. Those are seats out of the 4-door. I've got the 2-door seats for this car inside. Steering column, all the dash stuff is there. The whole dash cluster is buried in there. Bumpers. So that car's a little tough, but it is definitely a savable 62 two-door hardtop. It is a base Impala. '66 Caprice. The dash that I've got that I can cut is an air dash. Bill's joining us from the food store, so I've got one 4-door that's pretty stripped that I would consider cutting the dash out of it, but it is an air car. I think most of the 6s and 7s I've got are 2-doors, and I really don't want to cut the dash out of them. This old Caprice is pretty cool. It's got a small block in it now, but it is a factory big block car. And what's really cool about this 66 Caprice, check this out. Tilt and tele column in a 66 Caprice with auto temp control. So kind of some odd options on that car. Here's a few you haven't seen yet. 78 Tornado. Pretty decent old car. Check this thing out. 78 Tornado Brome. Yeah, that Caprice is another car I'm surprised is still here, but it is. Bill Wagaman's here. Yep, that was a good idea you had, Bill. Thanks for bringing that up Sunday night. I'm glad you did. 53 Chevy Coupe. And yes, it is a true short roof coupe. I have not showed you that yet. We have not done a video on that. Couple of 59 Bel Air 4-doors here. This section here is 40s and 50s era GM. Now, since I started that 59 to 70 era, I need to get these 59 Chevys out of here. But obviously you can see a lot of 40s and 50s era GM cars in this section, because that is primarily what this section is. Yeah, that coupe is a pretty cool car. There's no doubt about it. There's actually the first car I ever bought. Dad had that and I thought it was cool, so I wanted to buy it from him. I always thought I'd fix it up and then never did, and I actually ended up selling it to a guy. He used it for parts for another one, and then I actually ended up finding it and buying it back. And it was pretty rough when I got it back. You can see the roof's got a lot of damage after I found it back, but I couldn't let it get crushed, and that's where it was headed when I found it. So had to buy it back even though it was pretty rough. So let's head back towards some of those Chevys. Yep, loader's been working well. We're gonna head back to that far corner, back towards those trees. Hit the like button. Thanks, Bill, appreciate that. Thanks, Mike, appreciate that. Appreciate the comments. I am not going to the Mercury Show in Tulsa this weekend. However, our good friend Wikipedia Jim Wikipedia will be at the Mercury Show. He has a 71 or 72, I don't remember. This is one of his own personal cars, Cobra Jet Cougar convertible. So he will be there with his Cobra Jet Cougar convertible, Concours restored car. So you guys won't want to miss that. You'll definitely want to catch our good friend Jim Wicks at the Mercury Show in Tulsa if you're going to be there. And speaking of Jim Wicks, remember guys, we told you he's got something super exciting coming up. So I haven't figured out what we're going to do or how we're going to do it yet. But I'm going to be bringing, Jim has, a lot of you guys have seen the Jim Wicks videos, and you're familiar with him and his knowledge of Ford products. And he has been involved in some of the most the rarest, the most prestigious, the most valuable Ford products on the face of the earth. And he found a special Mustang last week. So for Jim Wicks to say, I found a special Mustang, it means something. So you guys are not going to want to miss this. This is going to be pretty exciting. But if you are catching the Mercury Show in Tulsa, be sure to swing by, tell Jim hi, tell him you've been watching his videos and you appreciate his knowledge, because that way he keeps doing them with us. He adds a lot to what we do with these videos when we see him at auctions and get to hang out with him, and he shares his knowledge with us, and that's awesome. And number one started calling him the Wikipedia, and I think that's a pretty accurate description. The Wikipedia of performance Ford stuff. This section right here is what I'm working on as far as 59 to 70 era GM, other than these pickup beds and stuff that get stuck around the edges. But right here, as you can see, are a lot of Pontiacs. I've got all my Pontiacs moved into this era, the 59 through 60, or 59 through 70 Pontiacs. Meekum Harrisburg, I will not be there. That's too far for me. If anybody else is going to be on sound off, so Bill knows you're going to be there. So I've got the Pontiacs set in here, and I've been working on the Buicks. But since I know everything is coming to this area, I've got a lot of Chevys and Cadillacs and other stuff that is here, just not in order yet. So no COEs out here. The only two COEs we've got are in town in the shop. That's right, big job. Good shout out to our new nobodies. Obviously the 1970 Pontiacs. Yes, that Rabbit pickup is a diesel. So we're at the end of the Pontiacs. And then this row here is kind of a mixture. I kind of left this row open, and I got some Cadillacs and Oldsmobiles dumped in here and some Chevys, because all this stuff is going to come back to this area as well. Obviously we can see our Buicks here starting with 1959. And into the 60 and into the early 60s era Buicks. Now, since all these cars are coming to this area, I do have several Chevrolets and Oldsmobiles and things like that that have been moved back here to this area, because this is where they are going to end up eventually. Mark's on with us. Chris is in love. So there are several Chevys that are just, like I said, I'm trying to, as I'm moving stuff, getting stuff consolidated into the areas where it is going to need to end up when we're doing this. Alan from Arizona is here with us. I'm in central Kansas, Great Bend. '63 Chevy Custom Cab. '64 Bel Air wagon. And while we're here, we'll talk about the next project that we're getting ready to tackle. Those. I'm going to get all these cars moved out of this area. This is where they go, but I haven't gotten them put in order yet. So what our plans are, and we started moving cars out of here yesterday. Addie was on the loader yesterday, and I told her to start moving these. So she got this row moved yesterday. Any of the Ford or hardtops complete? I don't think so. We'll wander back that way here in a second. So we got this row of cars moved out. We're gonna start moving this row next. And then these trees are coming down. Now my neighbor over there, he wants them down too. He's been cleaning up his pasture. We can see his tree piles over there. I've got a guy, actually my buddy Beetle that we talked about the other night, who our Vietnam vet friend who just wrote a book. He is really good with trees. He said, I can drop these things pretty quick. I said, you know, I'm gonna be on one side with the loader. My neighbor's gonna be on the other side with his loader tractor. He's gonna drop these things, cut them into 10 or 15 foot sections, and then we're gonna get them out of here. So We'll definitely shoot you some content when we do that, because these are big, big trees. However, you can also see that the size of the trees compared to the rows of the cars. Russ from North Carolina, glad you're here. Appreciate you watching. We've been on for 40 minutes, Mark. I had to go shoot some other content this morning, so we were running a little bit late. Those trees would take out a lot of cars if they came down. You know, if we had a really nasty storm and a whole chunk of that tree come down, it's going to take out 5 or 6 cars. So before I get these cars all set in a row, I'm going to move them out of here. We're going to drop these trees and get them out of here. Some more areas. We're watching the broadleaf stuff real close, trying to get some more of this grass coming up in here. Ford Coupe getting ready to go to a new home here soon. It's sold. 60 Cadillac. Chris wants to see these 4-door hardtops. What do I have for 4-door hard? Oh, this 63 4-door hardtop, it's pretty rough. No motor in it, and somebody left a bunch of junk laying on the trunk of this thing for like decades, and it rusted the whole top of the quarter panel out. So it's pretty gone. What else do I have for 4-door hardtops? I think most of the rest of these are sedans. Big Job used to just knock them down with a big loader. There's another 4-door hardtop over here, but I know it's pretty rough. There's a 2-door hardtop over here, but it's pretty rough. Kevin L's here with us. Here's a 64 4-door, but like I said, not a lot left of it. 63 SS, but it's really rough as well. It is a 63 SS, but it's pretty tough. The airplane, I actually am hoping is going to go up there near the billboard. You can see the semi going by. I want to put the airplane up by the billboard, right up on the corner by the highway is what I'm hoping for. Hoping. We'll see how it goes. I got to get it out of here first. Yep, it's been a great morning. It has been a nice, weather's nice. We got a little bit of wind. Hopefully the wind isn't bothering you guys too bad. But it has been a pretty decent morning out here. Yes, Algorithm, we are in Kansas. I'm in central Kansas, right near Great Bend. So, what's anybody else want to see? I've been trying to catch all the comments. Like I tell you guys, this is viewer guided. Let me know what you want to see, and that's the direction we'll try to head. A couple more Impalas over here. '62 4-door hardtop. This car is pretty rough. We did do a video on this. I'm not sure what hit this thing, but it took the nose of this thing off. How many Falcons do I have? I don't know, probably 10 or 15. Superman, I don't know about that. Not Smart comes to mind more often than that. 61 Impala. Sitting right next to the Bank Shift Suburban. That's right, that Suburban's heading to my buddy Chad Reynolds with Bank Shift. Be sure to check out bankshift.com and the Bank Shift YouTube channel and see what Chad's got going on, because that Suburban right there is going to be on it here in the near future. Another 62 Impala 4-door hardtop. I've got a 90 9C1 Caprice. The only one I've got is a 1990. There's one Falcon right over there. We'll catch that one. This car's rough. They cut the whole thing up. This actually came with the 2-door hardtop. The one thing about this car is it is factory in-dash air. and I do have all the air ducts for this car. They're in storage, but this was a factory in-dash air 62 Impala 4-door hardtop, and I do have the ducts and the vents for this car. There's the snow fighter. Factory plow on the front of the Dodge. We come by it again. As we head back here over to this Falcon, we were just over here a little bit ago. Let's show this one to Mark, and then we'll head back over to that 9C1 Caprice. Here's one of the little Falcons. This little two-door is actually not a bad little car. What year was the first four-wheel drive trucks? Well, it depends on what you get into. We're gonna head over towards this 9C1 Caprice as we talk about it. Marmon Harrington and Napco were both doing conversions clear back. I know Marmon Harrington was doing conversions back into the 40s. Napco started in the mid-50s with primarily kits, and around 57, you started to be able to order a Napco four-wheel drive from the factory from Chevrolet. Now, in the mid-50s, 55, 56, right in there, Napcos were primarily conversion kits. Marmon Harringtons were aftermarket add-ons as well. And I know they were doing Marmon Harrington Fords in the 40s. Yeah, that Falcon isn't a bad little car. There's some more rabbits over there. A row of wabbits. Let's cut over into this section. Now, this stuff here is basically stuff that over about the past year, I've had a place to dump it. That's literally about what this amounts to. I started bringing stuff out here. This area, it was kind of an open area. As I started expanding into this back part of the yard, so this stuff just kind of got dumped here as a dumping grounds and needs to be put away. But here's this 9C1 Caprice. It is a 90. No motor or tranny, and it is kind of rough, but it does have a lot of the 9C1 stuff still on it. I am guessing, since this apparently has, you can see where it had this outline here first, and then it had this star on it. I am guessing this was probably a KHP unit originally that was then sold off to a police department, is what I'm guessing. Since it had obviously a different badge on it somewhere, a different sticker on it at some point. A lot of the parts are stacked inside this car from when they pulled the motor and things like that, so lots of extra pieces in it. Yes, that Falcon does have a 6-cylinder in it still. Big old Chevy crew cab. This is actually also a 90. The kind of the end of the run for the square bodies. With the newer style front end, yet still a square body style truck. 1990 crew cab. This is actually kind of a neat old truck. I think the dash cluster is there. It's not in the dash. I think it's either inside in the back or in the trunk. I'd have to do some digging to try to find the cluster. I don't know if the engine transmission differed much or not. The guy that I bought it from basically bought it because it was a running small block. I mean, that's pretty much, and he needed it for a hot rod project. So that, I don't know if they differed much, but that's basically what it amounted to. But back to this old 90 square body. It is a factory big block, which is kind of cool. And it is a pretty well loaded truck. A lot of these crew cabs back in that day were strict, you bet James, were strictly work trucks. Power windows, power locks, tilt column, cruise. Had the fancier radio. So, yep, Hydro Boost, that's right. So kind of an interesting truck. The last of the square body Cruise, it's kind of banged up, but it's a super solid pickup. And very well optioned for a crew cab work truck. How about a four-wheel drive binder? Yep, even has the keys. We'll fire it up, take her for a spin. 72 International half-ton four-wheel drive. Check this out. We did a full video on this, and I'm not, to this day, not sure what it was. Mike from New Waverly, Texas is on with us. When I bought this at the farm auction last November, and you'll want to check out the farm auction videos as well, where this truck came from. Some of the old timers there said this was actually modified into like a custom harvester truck, like for the field hands. This thing actually had a sink in it. And there's not much left of it, but some of this wood and stuff here, Mark remembers it. It was kind of a camper. It had wooden sides, and then it had this chicken wire kind of over the top of it with a cover on it. And basically it was kind of so the farm hands during harvest could wash their hands, wash their face, and they had a couple little bunks in here and sleep for a few hours before they had to get back at it into the fields. 55 Lincoln Capri, I do not. I've got a 56. I do not have a 55. Let me know if you want to see that 56, and we can head up that way here in a little while. No, you don't see a lot of those binders, that's for sure. So this was a really interesting, yeah, mobile crew relief truck. That's a good way to put it. Very interesting truck. And the seat was there. This was all open. Factory dash with extra controls. Should be in Pioneer Village in better shape. That's true, Alex. That's very true. But a really cool old 38 GMC. The front of it, super odd looking the way they cut the top of the cab out and built it up. Even had a window up at the top, had a spotlight on the top. Definitely an odd duck. Okay, no problem, Z-Bear. No problem. That's what we're here for. Just if anybody got any questions, throw them out there, but I do not have a 55. Nut Farms here. You're late, but that's okay. The battery hasn't died yet. I don't know when it's going to die, but it hasn't died yet, so we still got a little time left, and I haven't gotten any warnings. So don't know where we're at on battery life at this point, but we're still kicking. So short bed Super Cab 78 Ford. That's definitely kind of an odd truck. You bet, Z-Bear, no problem. 59 Rambler that just came in, 5960 era. 68 Bel Air. Another 78 Ford pickup. See, I told you, Brian, we got them scattered everywhere. And there's a few of the Buicks that we're moving from over where the trees are coming out. Trees are right over there, just moving those cars out here into this open area so we can get those trees down. Getting some rain for PFF Flyer. Let's go ahead and wander over to what I call the new yard. We have not been over there yet. 37, 38 Chevy pickup, 37 Ford two-door slant back, 68 Fairlane Country Squire station wagon. That's a cool car. Here's a cool old GMC. I think it's a 79 half ton, but not just any half ton. It's a heavy half. Yep, it is kind of a family truckster there, Johnny Z. Let's head on over to the other side and check some stuff out over there because we have not been over there yet. Yeah, that wagon is super cool. There's no doubt about it. So we're going to cut back through over here by these 60s era GM cars, cut on over to the other side. Yes, that 68 Fairlane does have a motor and tran. The 78 Ford truck is working on stand. As you guys know, I am definitely a fan of that 73 to 79 Ford pickup. I've got my 78 F250 in the shop right now. I'm slowly, very slowly working on it. So I like those trucks. I'm a fan of them. I think they're a great truck and they are getting super, super popular. You bet, Mark, no problem. There's the 67 Grand Prix from the Pontiac swap from last year. Swing back by these beds, and then we're going to head over to the new yard, what I call the new yard. Couple things that I've just dropped here recently that you guys have not seen yet. 63 Mercury two-door sedan, square body Chevy boxes, including an early short bed with the round gas cap on it. And it's almost a rust-free bed. I don't know that I found any rust holes in that bed yet. And a long bed, 63 Mercury two-door post. You guys haven't seen that yet, haven't had time to do a video on it yet either. So, where we're at now, this is over on the north side of me. This stuff has been here for decades, and there was no rhyme or reason to any of it. Cadillac next to a Studebaker, next to a Chrysler, next to a shoebox Ford, a 62 Olds, and a 61 Thunderbird. Now, that's kind of how things were in this place. Most of this stuff I have not touched. I've moved a few things around this area right here. I've moved a few things around in and got some stuff organized. Right here where this Thunderbird was, there was a huge pile of old construction debris that I moved out. James is digging the Mercury. Yes, that is the one, I think, yeah, that is one that has the rear glass that goes up and down on that Mercury. Alex wants to see the T-Bird. We can wander over there. So that is that roll down back window. So stay tuned, we'll have a full video on that car here soon. But right where that T-Bird is at, there was a large pile of construction debris there. I moved all that, which kind of opened this area up a little bit. That allowed me to put a few cars over here just because I had some room to do it. So trying to make the most of the space that I have. But the bulk of the stuff over here on this side, I haven't messed with. Need those caps that cover the grease fittings. Not sure which ones you're talking. Oh, not sure where you're at on that, Randall. But most of this stuff I have not even moved yet. This sat here for decades. I tried to buy it before. I even bought that side over there, and they never would sell it. They never would sell it. It was hung up in an estate for years, and I finally got this bought about 3 or 4 years ago. No, there's no motor in the T-Bird. On the Dodge B4B. Yeah, you'll have to give me a shout on that, Randall, because I'm not sure where we're at on that. So all this stuff is sat here. The T-Bird, that T-Bird I think is a 61. 1, 2, and 3 are almost identical. I think that's a 61. I'd have to double check. And so this stuff is just kind of wherever, whatever. Comet, 35 Oldsmobile, and a Maverick, and a Cadillac. I mean, literally not much rhyme or reason to any of it. Working on a 79 T-Bird at the job vacuum hose all over the place. Yeah, yeah. If you didn't have some experience with those things are tricky in today's world. A lot of this stuff is rough. A lot of it, very little of it was complete. The gentleman that owned this back throughout the 80s and 90s, this was his kind of his retirement job, side gig. He liked cars, so he messed with this stuff as his retirement gig. Early 2000s, he didn't get out here much after that. And it sat here literally for, 15 years untouched pretty much until I finally got it bought from the family. So just kind of wandering, showing you guys some stuff. Keep the comments coming. If there's something you want to see, be sure to throw them up there. This is viewer guided, so we'll look at whatever you want to see as we're out here wandering around. I have not gotten a warning on my battery life as of yet. I'm sure it's coming. So step back to that Torino. Yes, we can. We're not too far from it. I think it's a 71 Torino. Close the door on the Cadillac here. We can kind of take a little better look at it. 63 to 68 Scouts. I've got one that we just walked by. It is definitely getting warm here today. After we finish up in this section, we can head back by that Scout again and look at it a little bit better. Cadillac limo too. So we'll head over, we'll catch a little bit more over here, and then when we head back over to the other side, we will try to catch that Scout. So I'll keep that in the back of my head. Since this is viewer guided, I definitely want to try to show you guys what you want to see. Yeah, that Torino's not a terrible old car. Some areas of this place obviously well grown over. Henry J's. Henry J's are always popular little cars. A couple of them sitting right there. One of them's been cut up into a pickup. But speaking of Henry J's, you guys absolutely do not want to miss the video coming up from Pioneer Village. I don't know when I'll get it posted. I've got it uploaded, but I got to get some description with it and get it posted, because they have a Henry J sitting right next to an Allstate. So we literally get to compare and contrast a Henry J and an Allstate while they are sitting right beside each other. Super cool. I think the Torino's a 71. There is no motor in it. So you can see how this is kind of just dumped however, wherever. I have made a few changes over here, just trying to make it a little bit more user friendly. I've kind of got some ideas penciled out on how I want things set up in here, but like this section right here. Kevin is going to Pioneer Village in 2 weeks, awesome. Allstate was Sears. You can order your Allstate from Sears. Like these cars right here on this end, you can see clear out here where there was so much space that it was tough to drive through with a trailer. So like these cars, I just picked them up and put them in a row because they were so unorganized that I couldn't get a trailer around this corner. So I've cleaned up a few things like that, but by and large, most of this I haven't messed with. There are more engines that we missed on the cleanup, things like that. Yep, Alex knows, he's been here, so it is kind of a history lesson. You've seen it all, so they're gonna drop a coyote in that Torino. That'd be interesting. Yep, no problem. That's what we're all here for, is to learn. I sure don't have all the answers, but that's what's great about this group of nobodies. And even on our Sunday night chats, you know, if you guys haven't been on with us on Sunday night, 7 o'clock Central Time, Sunday night live chat, you'll definitely want to catch that. We typically do a live on Tuesday evening called Toy Tuesday with toys and memorabilia. However, since today is 4th of July, we are going to skip that for tonight. We're doing this instead, I guess. So, Rambler Marlin, Rambler American, Edsel. There's a Falcon Ranchero. It's pretty rough, but there is a Falcon Ranchero. Haven't seen our little friend yet. He must not be in here today. Somewhere right in this area, I think under that Ford, I actually have a red fox that lives in here. Once in a while, I'll see him come bouncing out of this area. Beautiful red fox. Yeah, Marlins are pretty cool. The only DeSoto Hemi I've got is in that wagon. The chat's cooling for less experience like Stan. That's great, Stan, though, because that's the whole purpose. That's why it's called a chat. That's not why it's Chad sitting there talking. It's a chat. We all interact. We all share our knowledge. That's what makes this group of nobodies so awesome. So if you guys haven't been on with us on Sunday night, you'll definitely want to be on and check out what we've got going on Sunday nights. Yep, the Fox has good taste, doesn't he? That's right. It is kind of a brotherhood of automobilia. That's what we do. If you guys can bear with me for 1 second, we're gonna take a quick break. I'm gonna leave this on. I need to run and get another bottle of water because I am dry. So I'm gonna go grab another bottle of water. If you guys can bear with me, just hang on here for just a second and give me about 1 minute and we'll be back with the live. So hold on just a second. Okay, we're back. Let's see. Perfect. Sounds like a great plan, James. You keep Fox. Bill's got to run to the beer store. That sounds like a plan too. All right, let me get caught up here. Like we're in good shape. Already 80 in Tulsa. It's definitely 80 here. Waiting for Bigfoot. That'd be kind of cool. That'd be cool if we left the camera sitting here. We got Bigfoot on it. Hit the like button. Appreciate that, Kenny. And let's keep on wandering. Old Chevy with a bulk tank on it. And like I said, we are viewer guided, so let me know what you want to see. This tour is viewer guided. Still have not gotten any battery warnings. I'm going to take that as a win. I know it's coming, but we still haven't gotten it yet. So, how about a concrete mixer? Freddie Fred loves old cars. Happy 4th. Absolutely glad you're here with us, Freddie. Old 55, 56 era Packard. Some old vans, Econoline and a Chevy. Speaking of which, I got another Econoline coming in. I got a really cool Econoline van coming in, like a 66. And we'll kind of work our way back out of here and head back over to the other side and get to that International Scout. I know somebody wanted to see that. That Packard was like a 55 or 56. Let's check it out. I don't remember what model it was. We'll catch it real quick since we're not too far past it. We should have looked. Just says custom up here. Clipper on the hood. Clipper Customs, what it is. Good question, Alex. Glad you brought that up. And like I said, guys, if you want to see something, that's what this is. It is viewer guided. You let me know what you want to see, and we'll try to catch some of it. How about a Studebaker Wagonaire? Anybody know what a Studebaker Wagonaire is? Yep, that is a Corvair beside it, Tweedly D. Studebaker Wagonaire, the retracting roof wagon. Yep, Alex, usually it's rough. Somebody actually cut the rear of the car off, probably for a couch. So it's been hacked up pretty good, but you're more than welcome to check it out. There's the Sport Fury from Pole Barn Garage. Some more Corvairs. And we're working our way back here towards where we came in at. And actually we're going to cut off over this way and make another loop through this back area. Then we're going to head over to that Scout. Yep, that was definitely ahead of its time with a sliding roof. Cut the back out. Yeah, where's my M16? Yep. Have not heard anything out of Norma or Jennifer lately at all. There's a little tiny Simca. Don't know how that ended up in here, but it sure did. Pete's got to jump off. Glad you're here for most of it, Pete. And like I said, we've been kind of lucky. The battery's been hanging in here on my phone. I don't know how long it's going to last. But as of right now, we are still kicking, so. Mopar highlight yard video. Yeah, we can probably put some of that together sometime. There's the 57 Hudson, the last of the breed. What was that old truck missing the roof? 42 to 47 Ford. There's the old 57 Hudson we just did a video on, the last of the breed. They only made a handful of those cars, extremely hard to find. So, not that there's a lot of demand for them, but something you definitely don't see very often. Pete actually spoke with Jennifer on email. She said it would be too hard for her and the girls to be on. And I understand that completely. So appreciate that, Pete. Appreciate for the update that it would be too tough for them to be on. And I completely understand. But thanks for the update, Pete, because we at least know what's going on with them. There's the other Packard that Alex needs to rob some parts off of, probably. And we'll head over towards that Scout. It's right in front of us. We'll head that direction. Cut back through some more cabs and beds on the way over to the Scout. In fact, we'll look at the Scout, then we'll wander around and check out some of these cabs and beds. But there's the Scout coming up right in front of us. And it's pretty rough, but it is still have a lot of good pieces on it. The wind caught the top and flipped the top over here. But there she is. In fact, while we're here, let's check out a couple of other cars here that are really cool that we haven't showed you since they came in. This 57 Buick Roadmaster and this 60 Chevy Parkwood wagon. Studebaker convertible is up by the shop. We have not done the Studebaker convertible yet. I've still got to do that. This old Roadmaster and this old 60 Parkwood wagon are super cool. I love 57 Buicks. This one's loaded to the gills with options. Steering, brakes, air, windows, seat, wonder bar. This thing was essentially a Cadillac in 57. It had all the good stuff on it. Bowling pin for Sunday night's auction. We can do that. All the Roadmaster trim on the back of this thing. It is super, super cool. These are beautiful cars. And the 60 Parkwood wagon. Also a fairly well loaded car. Had power brakes, factory in-dash air conditioning. This was a pretty loaded up car also for a Parkwood. Autronic eye. Except I can't find all the rest of the Autronic eye. The eye's there, but I can't find the rest of the unit. I got to do some more digging. I did pull the dash vents out of this as well. I have them in storage since those are so hard to find. But that's a pretty cool car too. So we've got full videos on both of those cars as well that you'll want to check out. Let's go over by some cabs and beds. Yeah, that is a cool wagon. There's no doubt about it. 52 Roadmaster, that's one that came in from Dad's. We moved in, just haven't had time to get it put away. Yeah, I don't know what that wagon weighs. It's a big car though. Beds always kind of, a big thing. Beds are hard to find solid ones. A lot of these beds you can build out of Chinese metal. Someone saved the Parkwood, but you're still trying to build it out of Chinese metal, where these are all originals. 67 to 72 Ford, 48 to 52 F1 short bed. Anybody remember this one? This is a super cool one with the mobile porcelain pump signs for a floor. Yep, they literally cut up mobile gas signs to put a floor in this bed. So talk about a super cool patina bed for a rat rod truck. Front clip, 77 Ford pickup. Late 50s Chevy step side bed. 87 to 96 Ford bed. There's something kind of interesting. These stacks right here, old 80s square S10s, new takeoffs. These are all new takeoff beds for, the 80s era square S10. There's the gate. You can look at the floors in these things. Floors aren't scraped up. The wind kind of knocked that one over. But look at the inside of this one. It still has literally the printing on the inside of the metal from when these were new. Some of the hardware is still laying here from these beds. Literally new takeoff square S10 beds, like 5 of them. '67 to '72 Chevy long bed. '67 to '72 Chevy cab. Square body cabs. So, what's everybody want to see? Like I said, I think I've caught up. I'm sure I probably missed a few guys on what you wanted to see. I apologize. If I did miss something you threw up, absolutely throw it up again. We are still kicking, but I don't know how much battery life we are going to have left. I have not gotten a warning yet, but I've got a feeling it is coming very, very soon. So if you guys want to see something, like I keep telling you, this is viewer guided. Just throw it up there in the comments. And if I miss something, it is a perfect time. More falcons. Yeah, we can go catch some more falcons. Let's head over towards some of the Fords, catch a few more falcons and some Mopars. We can kind of do all that in kind of the same shot. We can kind of work that direction and walk past some Mopars. Dodge beds. The 50s eras, I've only got one on a truck over there on the other side. I don't have any Dodge beds in this section. At least for that mid-50s, Randall. 37 Ford trucks and cars. I've got one two-door sedan that we walked by a little earlier, but there's not much left of it. 37 truck, all I've got is one cab, and we're just about ready to come by it. This one right here is a 37 Ford truck cab. It is not the best cab, but it's not the worst cab in the world either, depending on what somebody wanted to do with it. But that one is a 37. Does have some rust above the windshield. So we will head toward, we'll cut through some Mopars and head over towards the Falcons, some more Falcons. Lots of miscellaneous sheet metal, which is another good thing to talk about, guys. One of the biggest things guys do when they call me if they're looking for parts, they'll say, do you have XYZ vehicle? And if I tell them I don't have that vehicle, they say, okay, thanks, and hang up. But they never tell me what they need. If I catch them, Say, now what do you need? And they tell me, all this sheet metal is loose off of other cars. All those semi-trailers, all those buildings, those are all full of parts. If you don't tell me specifically what you need, I may have 3 of what you need, but if you don't tell me, we're not going to get there. That is probably one of the most biggest cardinal sins that people do when they're looking for parts, is they're not clear. Just because I don't have that particular vehicle doesn't mean I may not have parts for it. There's a 42 Plymouth Coupe. And we'll cut right up here. There's that 4-wheel drive Dodge again. Here's some 73, 74 era Chargers. Model T radiator. I do not have any Model T radiators, Alex. Grease fitting access caps on the side of the bed by the front of the rear fenders. I'll have to look for that in that farm. I'll have to look and check and see that. That's right. The art of communicating patiently seems to be sadly lost. Absolutely it is. People are their own worst enemies. And that's why I don't do texts and emails, because the texts and emails I get will say something like, do y'all have any Chevy trucks? Well, there's, you know, a couple of hundred of them here. How do you answer that? Yeah, this one is a slant back. 50 Plymouth slant back. 41 to 49K model international, depends on which one we're talking about. I have a lot of both of them, depending on which one you need stuff for. Yep, the 50 Studebagger's up by the building. I do not have any 49 to 52 Chevy Tudor hardtops. Be specific to be terrific. That's a great way to put it, Anthony. Dart. One Model A that got kind of mixed in here because there was a hole, so it got stuck here. Yes, that Dart is a 2-door post. And this section here is also Mopar. Chevy 283 motors. I've probably got some, but nothing that I know anything about. I would imagine there's some cars back there that still have them, but nothing that I can tell you is any good or know anything about. Yep, it is a pretty complete Model A. It is a sedan, but it is a pretty complete car. I'm gonna look at this bed here real quick, Randall. I assume maybe that's where those plugs go. Is that where those, I bet that's where those plugs go that you're looking for to probably grease the springs. I'm assuming that's it. Let me know tell me if that's right or not, because I'm not sure. Or maybe that's it. Maybe that covers. Does that cover what you're looking for? Yep, that's it. Okay. Is there one on this side, or is that just on the other side? Yep, that side's got one as well. All right, we got it figured out. We got there. And actually, Randall, I'm glad that you brought that up, because that just shows all you guys how difficult it is to try to go over some of this stuff on emails and texts. It's literally almost impossible. So there again, by having that conversation, Randall and I finally got there to figure out what he was talking about. you imagine how many texts and emails that would have taken to try to figure that out? 3 window 49 Plymouth Coupe, 70 Duster, 68 New Yorker, 37 Plymouth sedan with probably one of the best noses on it I've ever seen. We're going to catch a few more Falcons here in just a minute, Mark. We're getting real close to them. And then, of course, there is that 65 Newport Tudor hardtop. I don't know how many guys I have priced this car to. I don't know how many guys said they're coming after it, and it's still here. It is a cool car, but it's still here, which just shocks me. You see how solid it is. The skirts are off of it. You can literally see right inside the edges of the quarters. Buckets, console, floor shift. 383 automatic. And it's still here. Yeah, the 78 Ford 1-ton, that's a unique truck. Yeah, Charles, that Newport is a sweet car. 1-ton dually 78 Ford. 70 or 79, I guess. It's a custom with square headlights, so. And let's catch some Falcons. There's that 54 Chevy 3100 that we just came in, we haven't shared with you yet. So stay tuned for the video coming up on that 54 3100. There's that 63 Dodge convertible yet. Got to get you a video on that. It just came in. That's a super unique car. I don't know that I've ever seen one of those in person. And let's check out some Fords. A few more Falcons up in this row, but they have been fairly heavily parted. 68 Mustang Coupe, 70 Mustang Grande Coupe, 65 Fairlane Sports Coupe, 60 Falcon Station Wagon, '62 Falcon two-door post, 61 Falcon station wagon. So these cars here have been fairly stripped, but still a lot of pieces on them. That other little two-door post we looked at earlier is definitely the most complete one that I've got and in the best condition. So anyway, where do we want to go next? We can work our way through some of these Fords as I watch for other comments on what people want to see. 53 Mercury two-door hardtops and 56 Mercury two-door hardtops. Mark was a kid, his mom drove a 60 wagon. Here's an interesting Ford. Four-door hardtop, 56 four-door hardtop. '54 Mercury two-door sedan. 56 Mercury four-door hardtops. And this one over here, I have always thought these were amazing cars. This was a 56 Mercury Montclair Phaeton four-door hardtop. I just have always loved the roof line of these cars. Now we can see it's got this wide molding, starts right here by the vent window and comes on back here. And it does the same thing on the roof line. Follows it right on back. So we've got both of those moldings that come right on back here and meet at the C-pillar, and you can see where the Phaeton emblem was at on this particular car, which is obviously long gone. And this wide band that went above the back window and actually matched the band right there all the way down to the door. I always thought that it was a super unique design on those cars. I always thought Ford did a great job on the 56 Mercury Phaeton because they made it really stand out. They didn't need to do any of that. That was all extra trim. That was all extra stuff. They didn't need to do any of it, but they did. And here we are, you know, 60 some years later, talking about that design. Better looking than Chevys. Yeah, this roof line was just great. I just love the way they did it. I always have. 62 Galaxy XL convertible. Glad you're here, James. No problem. Glad you made it for a while tonight. I appreciate all you guys swinging by this morning and hanging out with us today. We've had a good crowd on, and I appreciate that. Sometimes we do these and everybody's busy. We end up like 15 people on, and they're not very fun. So, but we've got a great crowd on this morning, and I'm glad you guys all stopped by to hang out with us. Yeah, they changed up every year back then. It is crazy. And that's another good point, Kevin. There was a lot of pride in what they did with this stuff back in the day. So let's head back out and let's actually, I'll tell you what, something we haven't looked at, some of the bigger trucks. Let's head to some of the bigger trucks. This section here is primarily Fords, but this section we're heading to, yay, big trucks, are like farm trucks that still have beds on them and full chassis. And since they obviously don't line up very well with cars and pickups, I kind of keep them in their own section. Do not have any true power wagons. I've got one chassis left is all I've got from a true power wagon. But here we're getting into some of the bigger trucks. And these trucks that do have a full chassis on them with no bed, I got the idea to start sitting cabs on the back of them, because that keeps the like type cabs with the like type trucks. So I've just recently done this, moved these cabs over here, sat them on the back of these trucks. Yeah, that first Falcon is the best one I've got, no doubt about it. Big old Studebaker. Ford, GMC. Yep, that's right. It keeps them off the ground, keeps them up, keeps them dry. Or throw a 37 Ford in the back of that one. K1 to 3 cabs. I've got plenty of them. Just depends on what you need. We've got some of those up here in another section. We will head up towards those here in just a little bit. I do have several cabs that are off, and I've got some other trucks, so we'll head to some of the K1 to K5 stuff here shortly. There's a 6 right there, and that's actually where I was at this morning. I've got 4 more 6s and 7s coming in. I had to go shoot some content on those. The real feel, a lot of comments about the Field of Dreams. Thanks, guys. I appreciate that. 36 Packard body. Not much there, but pretty interesting. The Napco is gone. The chassis is gone. I just sold the chassis. I still have the sheet metal, but I have sold the Napco chassis. It went to California. So we'll cut over by these Fords. There's some K1 to 5 stuff right over here on the other side of these Fords, on the edge of them and into the next section. So that's where we'll head next. And whatever else anybody wants to see, throw it up in the comments so we can get you in line to head that way. While we've still got battery. I'm surprised we've been hanging in there really well on battery this morning. But I got a feeling at any second we're going to get a notification that we're coming up on being dead on the battery. So we'll kind of work our way through here to some internationals. There's a 3 right here. Make a calendar with pictures in the yard. Actually, I always wanted to make a calendar of stuff as found. Yeah, don't talk it, don't jinx it with the battery talk. Good idea, Mark. Studebaker Hawk. There's a KB5. Yeah, I've still got the 69 Charger. There's a KB1. There's a KB2. And I've got it, like I said, I've got a ton of these trucks. Yeah, we can swing around the Hawk here in a minute. So I'm in pretty decent shape on most of the KB1 to 3 stuff. Front fenders, I think I've only got 1 front fender left. Rear fenders, I'd have to see. I've still got a set of rear fenders. I've got a windshield frame. I've got the front end stuff. So I've, depending on what you need, 1 to 5 stuff I've got. In fact, there's a couple more internationals. I really don't want to sell the Charger. I've got a ton of people that want to buy it. Dad's got a 70. I really didn't want to sell it. I'd sell a few pieces off of it. It's stuff that I don't think that he would ever need for his, but I really don't want to sell it. Yeah, we'll catch the A100 in just a second. A few more of these internationals. Like I said, most of these are pretty stripped. I just had another KB3 come in last fall, so I'm in pretty good shape on this. If there's anything you need on that 41 to 49 K1 through 5 Series International, let me know. Here's the A100 van, then we will swing back over to the Hawk. We can take a peek inside this while we're here. And back to the Hawk. Another K5 right here. Sam's here. Okay, sounds good, Charles. Appreciate that. Yes, that is a slant 6 in that A100. Other than the fact you said you know Reynolds. Even though I already admitted to it, I don't think that helps either one of our reputations. You tell Reynolds I said that too. I actually hung out with him all week last week, obviously on Rocky Mountain Race Week. So great dude, I love that guy. There's the Hawk. I bought this at an auction where the guy had a ton of Studebakers. And this car did not come from this area. It was really rusty. I was kind of shocked at how rusty it was. I don't know where it came from, but it did not come from Central Kansas. But this guy had a bunch of Studebakers, so I'm sure he'd been gathering them up wherever he could find them. But there again, it was a good parts car, so I went ahead and picked it up. But it is the only Hawk that I've got. They are a unique car for sure. Studebaker V8 in it. Okay, I remember who you are. Perfect. I do remember that. Great. Thanks for throwing that out there. I do remember that. I just don't remember tie all the names together all the time. So anyway, What else we want to see? Viewer guided tour. We're still kicking. You guys let me know what you think. I think I've caught most of the comments of what people wanted to see. If I missed you, I apologize. It'd be a great time to throw them back up because I think everything that at least I can remember in my feeble little brain we've tried to catch. So, which isn't saying a lot sometimes. Good rechromable cores for 67 GTO. I'm assuming on bumpers, probably fronts, but I don't think I've got any rears for a GTO. Back around to the Dodge convertible. Back into some more 40s and 50s era GM stuff. Stop at the Newport. Mark wants to stop at the Newport. There she is in all its glory. It just, you know, I understand it's not the most popular car in the world, but man, it's a good car. I have not fired this. The guy that I bought it from said he did have it running. He did drive it. The transmission was slipping, so he bought another transmission, was going to have that transmission overhauled so that when he swapped it, then he would just be able to just pull the old one out, slide the rebuilt one in, and be ready to go. Appreciate that, guys. Appreciate the kind words and the support. So, I don't remember if the skirts are in it or not. I'd have to look and see. I do know the extra transmission is in the trunk. Like I said, I have not fired the car, but he did tell me it did run. Interior is complete, just worn. Buckets, console. Keys are still here. Vacuum gauge in the console. Pretty cool car. There's that quarter molding that's off of it. Appreciate it, Brian. Glad you were here. So yeah, listen to that. I mean, that is just a solid title car. Yeah, that car has a lot of potential. That's why I haven't started cutting it up yet. More 40s and 50s era GM. Lots of Buicks in here from Dad's. A lot of the Buicks that we moved in here from Dad's, a lot of the 50s era Buicks that he still had. I've been pricing that Chrysler at $4,800 for the whole car. Clean title, ready to go. $4,800. A lot of these Buicks here came in from Dad's. So, you know, a lot of these were parts cars to start with. 56 special four-door hardtop. Yeah, I said that Chrysler's a cool car, and I don't think I'm out of line on price on it. Everybody loves it, but nobody sent me a check yet. 55 special. This old 55 special, this car here, we found this south of Great Bend, and I was probably, I bet 8 years old when Dad found that car. That car's been around a really, really, really long time, to say the least. One that's been around at least that long, yes, that was a 62 Chevy 2-door hardtop in front of the Newport, Sam. This old car is rough, really rough. 1947 Buick Super. However, this is another one of those cars, kind of like that 55 Special. I literally never knew a time when that car wasn't around. And kind of the granddaddy of them all, this one right here. This 1948 Buick Special. Now, we actually did a video on it, and if you missed it, you'll want to go back and catch it. And it's a couple years back. When we were moving the cars out of Dad's place, moving them here, because there was no point in him maintaining a salvage license and everything 20 miles away from me, just to keep 100, 150 cars over there. So we moved them all here. But this 1948 Buick Special is literally the start of it all. It was the first car that Dad bought as a parts car. He actually bought it because he had a 48 Roadmaster. I just got a battery warning. We are down to 10%, so we are about done. This 48 Special, he bought this as a parts car because he had bought a 48 Roadmaster that was a nice car but needed a few bits and pieces, not realizing at that time that the 48 Special was a completely different car than a Roadmaster. But he didn't get a chance to sell a few parts off the Special, so he did, and kind of started seeing the benefits of selling parts. That's how he got started selling classic Buick parts. This 1948 Buick Special, literally the beginning of everything. It's rough. There's not much left of it. It's been a parts car for 40 years. But it's still here. It's got a great story. It is literally what started this entire mess, I guess is the best way to put it. The very first car that Dad bought that he started parting out, and you'll definitely want to check out the video when we loaded this car. Like I said, it was a couple years ago. The last one, the 1948 Buick Special that we moved from Dad's place, which started the whole thing. And with that, I guess we're about done. There's the January pick. Great idea, Randall. You know, I just got the 10% warning on the battery, so there's probably not much point in trying to push it. Is there a better time to call you on the weekdays? Anytime 8 to 8. I answer from 8 to 8. 8 in the morning till 8 at night. If you want to call me after 8, I just assume you want to pay double. I mean, I work a lot of hours, and after 8 o'clock, I'm done dealing with the phone. I'm not done by 8 o'clock. I'm usually done. You bet, Oswald. I'm usually try to be done by 9 or 10. But if I'm still answering calls after 8, I'm not done by 9 or 10. So, you know, please have the courtesy to remember that. And remember, I'm Central Time. I don't call anybody back till 10 o'clock in the morning because I don't know where they're located at. So 8 to 8 Central Standard Time. If I do not answer from 8 to 8, it means I'm on the phone with somebody else. And I'll call you. Just leave me a quick message and I'll call you back. If you don't leave me a message, I don't know I'm supposed to call you back. I assume you're a telemarketer. If you don't leave me a good number where I can call you back, which is kind of crazy to think, people will call from work, so the number that pops up on my phone is apparently different. And you got to remember, guys, a lot of times I'm out here working. I don't sit at a desk for 12 hours a day. I'm always working and I'm always moving. So when you call from a work phone and I got 43 steps to try to figure my way through a work phone system, I've already forgot what your extension is or how to get to you. So please bear that in mind, guys. With that, I think we'll go ahead and wrap up. We're coming up on 2 hours. We had a great yard walk this morning. I appreciate you guys being on with me. I hope you had fun. We had a good crowd today. Share the video around. Let your friends know. I appreciate you guys jumping on. I appreciate all the kind words of support and you guys thanking me, but it would be pretty boring. Like I've told you, we've done these before, and you end up with 10 or 15 people on. It gets pretty boring pretty quick. We had a great crowd on this morning. Glad you guys shared it around. Let your friends know. Then go back and rewatch the video from here on out. It will be on YouTube. I hope everybody has a good 4th. Be safe out there, everybody. And let's see, what else is coming up? Tomorrow night, I'll get the video up on that Monte Carlo tomorrow night, the 79 Monte Carlo Landau. I will, and we'll get some more cool stuff up Friday night. Like I said, I've got a lot of stuff working. The Pioneer Village videos, the Auburn Record Duesenberg videos, stuff from other yards, plus all this new inventory that you guys haven't even seen yet is still sitting around here. Nut Farm's got to rewatch it. I appreciate that. So anyway, what else is cooking? I'll tell you what, let's catch one more thing we didn't see. Real quick, let's catch these Chevy trucks. We're not dead yet. We'll walk through these Chevy. Let's show you a few Chevy trucks since we haven't shown you a lot of Chevy trucks. That just hit me. That's one thing we haven't shared a lot of. Let's catch a few of these Chevy trucks right here in this section as we wind down with a few more percent left on our battery, and then we'll be ready to wrap up. More Buicks from Dad's as well. Can't believe we didn't really show you a lot of Chevy trucks today. That's usually one thing we look at a ton of is Chevy trucks. And we really didn't catch many of them today. Oh, one other cool story. As long as we hold in there for just another minute, I'll share one other quick story with you. If you guys are interested, there's an interesting story behind that car. That was one of the very first parts cars I bought. Not the very first one. That's a 58 Buick that's up over in that corner. But that 55 Pontiac was one of the very parts cars that I bought. Sounds like a plan, Randall. We'll swing around these, catch that Chevy 2 real quick since somebody asked about it, and then we will go ahead and wrap this thing up, unless the phone dies. And there's that 62 Chevy 2. All right. I think that's about all we're going to be able to squeeze in. I didn't realize we hadn't walked some of those Chevy trucks. Apologize about missing that, so we squeezed it in. And we'll go ahead and wind up and let everybody get on with their 4th. I hope everybody has a great holiday weekend. Please remember why we're here. You know, support our veterans. This is, we are able to celebrate 4th of July because we are able to do what we want to do, including this old car hobby, hanging out with our friends, doing crazy stuff like Rocky Mountain Race Week. Good idea, Kevin. We'll start on Chevy trucks next time. That's a good idea. You guys remind me of that when we start on the next live yard walk here in a month or two. Try to do these every 2 or 3 months. As things change, there's no point in doing them every week or two, but as different things change, just like that one over there, just like when that Dodge convertible comes in, weird things like that pop up. Sometimes it's cool to just kind of give everybody a quick overview of how things are going. So we'll skip Toy Tuesday tonight, so don't plan on jumping on at 7 tonight. We'll put it off till next week. We'll get the Monte Carlo video up. I've got to get some of this other new inventory shot. You guys caught a glimpse of some of the stuff that's here that you haven't even seen yet. And actually there's several more that we didn't even get to. We didn't even get back to that other section where I've started dumping new inventory. So we will definitely get that squeezed in as well soon too. So stay tuned. We'll get those other videos up. One tomorrow night, one Friday night. All Rocky Mountain Race Week stuff is up. I got the last 3 of those posted last night, so check those out if you're interested in how things went with Rocky Mountain Race Week this year. Plus, there's tons of coverage on it, so check that stuff out. Awesome event, and I'm proud to be part of that deal as well. Anyway, I'm going to get back to work. I know you guys got a lot of stuff going on today. I appreciate you being here. As always, as we talked about before, if you've got any questions, just give me a call, 620-786-4428. That number is I'll put that number in the description here after we get done. That's right, the yard does change a little bit all the time, Big Job. That's why it's fun to do these every 2 to 3 months. But, definitely no point in doing them every week or two. Mark's already watched them, great. Appreciate that, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. But yeah, things do change out here. I buy cars almost every week. So things do change. We're rearranging. Like I said, those trees are coming out. We'll get you some video when we do those trees coming out, I hope. I hope we can get you some video. I hope we don't drop the trees on anything because those are big trees. We can probably, right, those trees right there, you can see how big they are. Right there, those trees. You can see how big they are from here, from up towards the front of the yard. So you can imagine what those things are like up close. That's going to be a challenge, but my buddy Beetle says he can get them on the ground. We just got to scoop them up and get them out of his way. So we'll bring you some content there, but just like Big Job said, things are always changing, and that's why we try to do these every 2 or 3 months to keep you guys up to speed with what's going on. So that being said, I appreciate it. Had a great morning with you guys. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. A lot more cool stuff coming up. And we will see you hopefully all Sunday night, 7 o'clock for Sunday Night Live Chat. If you have not been on that, you'll definitely want to jump on and hang out with us on there as well. Been a great time this morning. Hope everybody has a safe 4th. Have a great time with your friends and families. for the rest of the day, and everybody have a great week, and we definitely hope to see you all Sunday night, 7 o'clock, Sunday Night Live Chat. Thanks for watching this morning, everybody. Have a great 4th of July, and we'll see you Sunday.